There's something I'd like to read to you. Since we don't do so much chanting, I kind of like to read a sutra once in a while. I think that's a good idea. So, this is called The Verses of Faith Mind. It's an essay that was written by, in Zen, we really, really treasure each person that gets transmitted from the Buddha. So, there's Shakyamuni, that's Siddhartha Gautama. He has lots of different pet names, nicknames, epithets. 28 generations later, you have Bodhidharma. This is from 2 generations after Bodhidharma. So Bodhidharma's student was Taiso Eka, and then his student was Kanshi Sosan, or in Chinese pronunciation, which I'm not nearly as good at, is Zhengzan. But he wrote this fantastic piece, and there's a really beautiful translation into English. So I'd like to read it to you. It's called The Verses of Faith Mind. The supreme way is not difficult if only you do not pick and choose. Neither love nor hate, and you will clearly understand. Be off by a hair, and you are as far from it as heaven from earth. If you want the way to appear, be neither for nor against. For and against opposing each other, this is the mind's disease. Without recognizing the mysterious principle, it is useless to practice quietude. The way is perfect like great space, without lack, without excess. Because of grasping and rejecting, you cannot attain it. Do not pursue conditioned existence. Do not abide in acceptance of emptiness. In oneness and equality, confusion vanishes of itself. Stop activity and return to stillness, and that stillness will be even more active. Merely stagnating in duality, how can you recognize oneness? If you fail to penetrate oneness, both places lose their function. Banish existence and you fall into existence. Follow emptiness and you turn your back on it. Excessive talking and thinking turn you from harmony with the way. Cut off talking and thinking, and there is nowhere you cannot penetrate. Return to the root and attain the principle. Pursue elimination and you lose it. One moment of reversing the light is greater than the previous emptiness. The previous emptiness is transformed. It was all a product of deluded views. No need to seek the real, just extinguish your views. Do not abide in dualistic views. Take care not to seek after them. As soon as there is right and wrong, the mind is scattered and lost. Two comes from one, uh, yet do not even keep the one. When one mind does not arise, myriad dharmas are without defect. Without defect, without dharmas, no arising, no mind. The subject is extinguished with the object. The object sinks away with the subject. Object is object because of the subject. Subject is subject because of the object. Know that the two are originally one emptiness. In one emptiness, the two are the same, containing all phenomena. Not seeing fine or coarse, how can there be any bias? The great way is broad, neither easy nor difficult. With narrow views and doubts, haste will slow you down. Attach to it, and you lose the measure. The mind will enter a deviant path. Let it go and be spontaneous. Experience no going or staying. Accord with your nature, unite with the way. Wander at ease without vexation. Bound by thoughts, you depart from the real, and sinking into a stupor is as bad. It is not good to weary the spirit. Why alternate between aversion and affection? If you wish to enter the one vehicle, do not be repelled by the sense realm. With no aversion to the sense realm, you become one with true enlightenment. The wise have no motives. Fools put themselves in bondage. One dharma is not different from another. The deluded mind clings to whatever it desires. Using mind to cultivate mind, is this not a great mistake? The erring mind begets tranquility and confusion. In enlightenment, there are no likes or dislikes. The duality of all things issues from false discriminations. A dream, an illusion, a flower in the sky. How could they be worth grasping? Gain and loss, right and wrong, discard them all at once. If the eyes do not close in sleep, all dreams will cease of themselves. If the mind does not discriminate, all dharmas are of one suchness. The essence of one suchness is profound, unmoving, conditioned things are forgotten. Contemplate all dharmas as equal, and you return to things as they are. When the subject disappears, there can be no measuring or comparing. Stop activity, and there is no activity. When activity stops, there is no rest. Since two cannot be established, how can there be one? And the very ultimate rules and standards do not exist. Develop a mind of equanimity, and all deeds are put to rest. Anxious doubts are completely cleared. Right faith is made upright. Nothing lingers behind, nothing can be remembered. Bright and empty, functioning naturally, the mind does not exert itself. It is not a place of thinking difficult for reason and emotion to fathom. In the Dharma realm of true suchness, there is no other, no self. To accord with it is vitally important. Only refer to not to. In not to, all things are in unity. Nothing is excluded. The wise throughout the 10 directions all enter this principle. This principle is neither hurried nor slow. One thought for 10,000 years, abiding nowhere, yet everywhere. The 10 directions are right before you. The smallest is the same as the largest in the realm where delusion is cut off. The largest is the same as the smallest. No boundaries are visible. Existence is precisely emptiness. Emptiness is precisely existence. If it is not like this, then you must not preserve it. One is everything. Everything is one. If you can be like this, why worry about not finishing? Faith and mind are not two. Non duality is faith in mind. The path of words is cut off. There is no past, no future, no present. Nick's face says a lot. Huh? So
I've
this,
actually been reading Bodhidharma, some of the Bodhidharma. I found a little Bodhidharma, the book of sermons translated by Red Pine.
oh, yes, 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 yes.
So it sounds kind of
Very
familiar.
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a weird thing that happens from the part of Buddhism that becomes Zen, which we thank Bodhidharma for, and really kind of Bodhidharma's master, Hanyatara. Now, why do I say it like an American person speaking bad Japanese? But uh, the way that all of the Zen masters sort of point to mind tends to be very, very similar, and it's almost like it gets each master meets it with their personality and with the students who are probably right in front of them at the time in mind. Like, oh, these people need to encounter this way. And so in a contemporary to that time style, they put it together. But those texts attributed to Bodhidharma are beautifully clear. Even if you read all of Master Dogen's Shobogenzo, which is quite a lot of works, and it's really, really heady and complicated and nuanced and subtle and stuff. You go back and you read those three texts that they say are Bodhidharmas, and you go, ah, Bodhidharma was much clearer than Dogen was. So it's good. It's always good to revisit the ancient masters. Steve, Chelsea, any impressions on that?
I guess everything what I'm gonna say is probably a big mistake because it's come in the words. And unfortunately, to communicate, I have to open my mouth.
Yes, yes, go.
And I was reflect recently why Dogon, not only Dogon, a lot Zen masters, sometimes it's hard to understand.
Yeah, yeah.
And come up in my mind because it's very hard by words express somebody experience.
Yes. Yeah.
Because everything what we say or think about is big mistake. And I guess all life us is continuous mistake.
Yeah, yeah. A physical example, which I was came to my attention when I was looking at leaves changing colors recently, is that everything we perceive as, for example, red, is actually everything that's not red. So the way we associate an object as a certain color is actually because of its lack of that color, that wavelength, or that capacity to absorb that color of light. So what we're seeing is the inverse. All the names that we apply are in the negative in that way, at least in the terms of our vision. And taste is also a product of electrical signals. So in some way, perhaps how we understand that's also inverted or distorted by perception in some way. And if all of our senses have a fundamental error about them, mm, even sound can become an illusion if you but it gets way more scientific, difficult to explain how sound is an illusion based on harmonies and frequencies playing with each other. Um, but if all of our senses are sort of a mistake, then everything we say as a result of what we have observed or experienced is just a mistake on top of a mistake. And that also leads us to our concept of who we are, if that's also a product of our senses, must also be a profound mistake. What are we to do with that? The complex, sort of ephemeral way that Zen masters write about the great matter of life and death. Uh, at least I personally feel, yes, Steve, you're very right. That it's so difficult to express experiencing or coming to intimacy with that important point. But also, it's really, really also important to not try to pin it down because the moment we put a nail in the thing and it can't move, well, this is it. It sort of misses the point. There's no way that anything you have said could, or the words you used, could possibly uh, illustrate the thing that someone can come to realize. And so, mm, Master Dogen's great point, actually, I wrote a paragraph about this. Maybe I want to read that. Master Dogen, maybe the gift of how complex some of his points are philosophically is that it doesn't give it to us just as it is, but it gives us everything around it. It gives us all of these. He's like painting in negative in a certain way, so that our attention, our conception is sort of pointed, steered gently toward it. Indeed, when I read something like this, the verses of faith mind, although we could dissect it word by word, line by line, and of course I encourage that. That's a good thing to do. Uh, there's something really great about letting it sort of wash over you, and at the time that you meet it, in the condition that you are at that moment that you hear it, or that you say it, or that you read it, something, some little tiny part of it sort of vibrates with you. And whether or not what you pick up from it is true or accurate isn't actually important. It's just about pointing you at the thing. And that's all. It only takes a little bit. And that's sort of a, as Kanshi Sosan Daiyosho said in, great teacher Kanshi Sosan said in that, that is faith in mind. That's a weird concept. We think of faith as being like faith in something we can't actually like hold or see or verify. But mind is kind of, it has some verifiability about it, measuring our perceptions and understanding how our perception organs work, and you know the science of mind, psychology is also in there. Um, is that stirring anyone? Uh, or is it just going on? I think Steve's hanging on. Greg's probably hanging on. Chelsea and Nick, are you okay?
I'm here.
Okay. Um, um, so a question that came in my emails from the YouTube channel actually yesterday. Um, it's really, really great question. A little bit compound. He said, naturally, for the Soto Zen tradition, Dogen's writing are fundamental. And he's like, do people mostly accept his writings as absolutely authoritative, or is it acceptable to seek an understanding of his teachings against the background of social and historical situation during his lifetime? Um, that's a weird question, but the answer that came out of me, and he was like, "Is this all relative or relevant to Zen practice?" And I said, well, something we read together once before, the Bendoa, one of Dogen's first, or it's considered sort of the first chapter of Shobo Genzo. In the second paragraph, he says, the effort in pursuing the truth that I am now teaching makes the myriad dharmas real in experience. It enacts the oneness of reality on the path of liberation. At the moment of clearing barriers and getting free, how could this paragraph even be relevant? The key here is, how could this paragraph even be relevant? That's a quote from Dogen. Master Dogen points at the matter and says it has been realized fully. One doesn't need to have it pointed out. This also probably implies that even before the words written to point it out, there was no actual need for anything Dogen said, much less anything left to us from any of the ancient masters, even the Buddha himself. Even, indeed, my own master says Dogen was amazing in his own time, but today we can just read the Buddha in our words, or Buddha's own words in our modern language. So why would we bother with Dogen pointing at Buddha when we can just read Buddha? I kind of like that my master says that. But could this possibly be an excuse not to study? I mean, although it is possible to get to the point by one's own means, by one's own power, it requires exceptional discipline and drive that transcends the body, fear, and profoundly transcends cultural pressures and natural environments in which most of us find ourselves. I personally believe that Siddhartha Gautama was indeed blessed at birth, but not solely for his inborn capacities, for his personality or his intellect, but also for the capacities afforded by the time and place and circumstance into which he was born. That that chance is so infinitesimally minute as to be miraculous. You and I and everyone we know are woefully lazy and laughably easily distracted in life, by life. Given that, there's less than a snowball's chance in hell of any of us clearing barriers and getting free without someone beating us over the head with it. And we're all pretty soft. We'll all get butt sore about the beating and run away, probably. So we further diminish our own chances, even if we are fortunate enough to be beaten over the head with truth. Nonetheless, in spite of our laziness or the decay of the Dharma, however you want to say it, that same miracle of Gautama's birth is our own individual births as humans, where we find ourselves right in this moment. It is, when you see it as it is, unbelievable. So, in response to this ridiculous condition in which we find ourselves, if we can borrow Master Dogen's words, how can we dispense with practice? I think we must also reasonably argue, how can we dispense with study? If we do Zazen just to do it, so too ought we study just to study. It's a bit dense.
Unagashimos.
Did you write that last part, or who?
I wrote that.
Okay.
Steve?
It's very interesting, but if you go very far back to Buddha and
Mhm.
even Dogen,
Mhm.
fundamentally, what's the study? The study yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Even Dogen said in his quote, famous quote, to found Buddha, study yourself. To study yourself, forget yourself.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
And Buddha same way. He just sat down under the tree. What he did, he discovered dependent origination.
Yeah.
Dependent origination of what? Of himself. How he create everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fabricate, like you say.
Yeah. It's mm, it's accessible. We don't need anything. We don't need an organized religion. It doesn't even need to be a religion. It doesn't need to be anything. It's just sitting down and paying attention.
Yeah, we need a little bit structure. Otherwise,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna be lazy.
That's it. Yes, exactly. Exactly. This is why well, in Dogen's time, Dogen's own master in China, uh, Tendo Nyojo would throw his slippers across the meditation hall at monks who were falling asleep during meditation. And he might also yell, "Wake up!" Or sometimes he would walk around and he would take off his slipper and he would just beat them. And uh, there's a famous story that Dogen recounted of Tendo Nyojo apologizing and crying and saying, "I don't mean to beat you as a physical abuse. I mean to beat you so that you wake up because I want you all to wake up." And I imagine he probably said that, apologized, cried a little bit. It was pretty moving. And then he walked through the room and hit everyone again. It's like, pop, 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 wake up. And yeah, Chelsea's face says a lot there. Just going, huh? The beating is, we, in a lot of cultures around the world, at this point in history, we're very sensitive about protecting ourselves, right? We don't want to be beaten. We don't want to feel pain or discomfort. But actually, sometimes inside that, we can learn something really important about ourselves. And if we never encounter it, if we're always in a safe little bubble, um, then we might never encounter that aspect of self. So in that way, maybe there's something okay to it. If it's, what's the word? Um, oh no, it's an English word that I've forgotten. What is the word whenever you like you go on a date and you both agree that you'd like to do intimate things together?
Sensual.
Consensual. Thank you. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's consensual, like submitting yourself to wisdom, to all of the sides of it, and also abandoning your strong tendency to protect yourself physically and egoistically. So there's a
It's not like a
challenge.
real beating, like someone's trying to beat you unconscious. It's a playful beating.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, this, yeah, but sometimes it happens and it's not so good. But that's the effect is still good. If the beaten, the person being hit, studies it as such, it still can become a productive encounter. I watched one of my good friends in the monastery once received a smack from the stick. The joke, the American joke is calling it the compassion stick. In Japan, no, it's not a compassion stick. It's just getting beaten when you fall asleep during zazen. So he was sitting. He had a knee problem, and I had a job. So we were sitting in a separate sitting space that you can sort of come and go from, uh, rather than the main zazendo. And the senior monk walks around as a monitor, and he carries the stick. And I knew that my friend was asleep. We were sitting facing opposite walls in this kind of small room, and I knew that senior monk who walked in was kind of a jerk, and famously liked to hit people. He liked to hit just to hit, like not a compassionate thing. Um, and so I very quietly, I turned and looked back over my shoulder. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good." And sure enough, he abandoned the protocol where you usually give a gentle tap, and then the person puts their hands in gasho and they lean over like this so you don't clip their ear and they have a nice clear access to your shoulder. And he leaned forward so it hits you in the kind of in the meaty part. But no, 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 no. This senior monk didn't care about that. He saw a sleepy uh lazy turd, my good buddy, just kind of hunched over like this, and he just hit him, and he hit him so hard that he fell out of the chair that he was sitting in. It's kind of a bench thing, a little tiny like a chair without a back kind of thing, and he just went and just crumpled out of it. And then I just about got smacked because I almost laughed, but that story is neither here nor there. It was just watching someone be beaten more or less senselessly. And he showed me the red mark on his shoulder later, and I was like, "Whoa, you got it good." He's like, "Well, but I woke up. I woke up." So
I have a follow-up question to all this. That's
go.
okay. There's a lot of conflicting instructions. Not really instructions, but like the whole like sleeping thing. It's like it's okay to sleep if that's like the condition that you're in. But then at the same time, there's all these examples of masters getting mad at students for being asleep. So it seems like both are wrong.
Okay, let me go back. Let me go back. Mm. Do not abide in dualistic views. Take care not to seek after them. As soon as there is right and wrong, the mind is scattered and lost. Two comes from one, yet do not even keep the one. When one mind does not arise, myriad dharmas are without defect. That's point one. Um,
Can you summarize point 1 in English?
The sleeping means two things. It means the cognitive state of closing the eyes and the body beginning to rest, and sleepiness also means not vigorously abandoning dualistic views.
It's not even asleep. Asleep and awake is not a dualistic thing anyway, right? Isn't there a
Yes, we can't be other than whatever we are, and the moment that we start to wish that we are other is the moment that we are missing the thing. We're not we turn ourselves from the Buddha way. It's kind of a funny way to put it, but that we turn ourselves from the way. And that also means that when you do fall asleep and you snore in the meditation hall and the master throws a slipper at you, or a senior monk comes and whacks you, or if you're sitting in a zazendo with a really kind Western master, and he or she just makes a loud noise, like yells and hits the floor or something, and it wakes you up, huh? That you're also you're also not judging yourself in that moment as, I was asleep, that was bad. You're also not judging the person who hits you or startles you as, oh, they're doing this to because I was doing something bad, or they're a jerk, they always hit too hard. Not even judging all of those things. It's everywhere. There's always like and dislike, but whenever you turn off the like and dislike, the picking and choosing, then actually being asleep while you're sitting on the cushion becomes doing perfect zazen anyway.
That's what I don't understand. Because then why do they only hit people that are sleeping?
They don't only
They
hit
should
people that
they
are
should be
sleeping.
hitting everyone then.
They do hit everyone.
Mm.
Yeah, sometimes it's just on a given day, everyone deserves the compassion of being stirred to wakefulness, and so usually it's a master, unless they're tired and they're like, "Ah, my elbow hurts, so I'm gonna make a younger, like a training monk, a senior training monk, do this," and they walk around with a stick and they just one after the other, pachat, 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 and they usually say it in a really cool, like the old masters always speak in the old style Japanese, which only works inside a big temple, and they say like, how does it sound? Uh, 教作を受ける者は合唱しべし. And everyone goes, and waits for the attack. But see, even that's dualistic. Well, they hit the people who are asleep, but they also hit everybody. Fall asleep, it's fine. Although I don't hit. Go, miss.
In some Zenda, you even have to read to get hit. You sit and you see a person with stick go around, you just gasho, he come to you, you just give
Yeah.
him place and the stick, you just thank you and he move out.
Yeah.
For the next one who requested.
Yes. There's also requesting it. And that as a metaphor, that requesting, this hitting thing, it's not that it all needs to be violent. It's about and to say being beaten over the head with truth is not about a physical violence. It's about a teacher repeating the point to you again and again and again, probably in different ways, until you get it. And being willing to listen to you and look at you and say, Greg, you're close. You're close. Keep going. You're close. You're not quite there yet, but you're going to get there. And then that being there again and again is beating you over the head with truth. That's me basically saying the same thing every time we have a Zen meet. The same answer to every question.
And
And
also it's
Hmm?
it's got some physical side, because when you sit 14 hours meditation on some retreat, your muscles, this one special, it's so tired and tired, so you request, you got hit, it's kind of a little bit release pain, you got hit by another one, so it's
Yeah.
helpful physically too, it's kind of like massage.
Yes. Yes. There is a beauty to that, which Chelsea and Nick, I will introduce you to in future years when you come visit me here in Japan.
Why are you going to Japan, Nick? Oh, I need to go get beaten with a stick by my friend, my dear friend. He needs to beat
Yes.
me with a stick.
Yeah.
I was
It's
going to
it,
ask, is the point sort of that the pain is a gift, because it's probably not as bad as the pain that it's not as bad as the pain that you can put yourself through just by sitting in a certain way. I often think about that, like getting stung by a bee is something I've always been afraid of, but it doesn't actually hurt that much compared to like things that I do to myself on an hourly basis. Just cutting
Mhm.
myself with a, so like the pain is very funny, and like the anticipation of it can be, part of the thing. So I was going to ask if the point is sort of, here's some actual pain as a gift to you to remind you what is actually real.
Yes. The that you brought up a good point. Anticipation of a discomfort, anticipation of suffering is worse than suffering itself. Much worse. It's like being surrounded by poisonous gas. And it's killing you, but you don't die. And you're just like, "Ugh." And it's horrible. That's anxiety. I mean, really simply put. But then when you feel the actual thing, it's like, well, oh, this is it. Oh, this is painful, this is suffering. And then you're like, well, yeah, I mean, I know this feels bad, but I'll live through it. You get broken up by your partner, your heart breaks. You're just kind of like, you knew it was going to happen before it happened. You feel much worse than actually when it does happen. It's actually kind of a release. That's one example. Or you know that I mean, the metaphor of the the person walking around with the big compassion stick, you see them out of the corner of your eye, and you're like, you automatically become awake because you're anticipating that pain. And yes, on a physical level, on a purely physiological level, when you get smacked and you experience that pain, yes, it does sort of stimulate the muscles in a good way. It also releases endorphins in your body if they hit just hard enough that it like there's a little window of power that you can feel it like what's it, amygdala in your brain releases this, or pituitary gland releases all these hormones, and you just feel it go bzzz through your whole body, and you're beautifully purely awake for like 5 solid minutes. You're just like, yeah, I'm the Buddha now, and you're just in it. But that fades away too. But um that's the same as when you hear a text like this and one line sticks to you and you go, oh, that's the same phenomena. I want to revisit one more thing. Contemplate all dharmas as equal, and you return to things as they are. When the subject disappears, there can be no measuring or comparing. And that means that all things are the same. So every time there's a metaphor anywhere in a Zen way of conceiving the world, actually, although the words we use to describe the thing are different, even the situation we experience might be different, but what's actually happening is exactly the same. There's no difference. And in that way, we are all a bunch of blind fools groping after elephants. And then in all of our conceptual dialogue, we're all describing and experiencing the elephant, but none of us can see the whole thing. But actually, that's kind of fun in its own way. I got the stinky end. Chelsea got the end that plays with you. I'm jealous. And in the end of all of the metaphor and conceptual tools we get through the poetry and the texts and what have you, the ultimate thing, and the thing that probably differentiates Zen Buddhism from many other parts of Buddhism, and also especially from theistic religions, where people put a faith in something that is outside themselves in a lot of ways, is that work needs to be done. I think everybody sort of has that understanding, like, oh, some kind of forgiveness needs to happen somewhere, by someone on behalf of someone else, or understanding or trust needs to be developed. In Zen, there is no one other than you, nothing other than you to do that work. The only way that you get free of your delusions, to put it, that's the polite word. I like to say BS because it sounds more fun. But the way to get free of all that is only by your own power. It's not miraculous. It's not magical. It's practical, and it just means take a minute once in a while, once a day. 1 minute is enough. More is better. But just sit down and let yourself kind of melt back into a calm, empty state where you put down all the affairs that are going on in your head, all the things that are going on in your life, all your relationships, every problem that you have, because we have unlimited, unending problems. Just put them down for a moment. Return to things as they are, and you will clearly see. You'll forget. So you have to return to that stillness and silence again and again and again. Just a little bit is enough. More is better, but just a little is enough. And it's your own power that does that, and not something other than you. Of course, in Christianity, we say we give it to God in a way. We go to a priest, we tell him what we did wrong. I forgive you, son, my daughter. You say this prayer like 6 times or whatever, and everything will be absolved. Well, actually, there's no absolution in Zen. It's just, oh, yeah. This is it. So why worry about it?
Feels like a snake eating its own tail. That's what our lessons feel like sometimes. We just kind of circle back around. And my other thought is about the beatings. It sounds kind of kinky, so I don't know. You guys sit with that.
Or a lot of pent up young men in one area.
Hey, the nuns are worse.
And then the other thought is, the just about like the beating, because I do sort of think like the discussion and then the sort of lessons just keep coming back to like, just sit down. I don't know, your head is the problem. So I don't know what more to say about that, but about the beatings, I can't help but notice that yeah, it does feel like what do I want to say? I don't know. I would be curious at any, another time or something, but to hear sort of the perspective about like the gendered experiences of life. And it's one thing for what I, not assigning anyone any genders here, but I do think I'm the only lady variety on the call.
Today, yes.
today. And so, you know, the experience of like when we talk about these things, it's just sort of, I don't know, I wonder how that factors into like the historical aspect of this.
Misogyny is a huge stain on human history, and it's pervasive everywhere, even in Buddhism and in Zen. A little interjection. Just after that last question, the group enjoyed a perfectly fine, candid conversation about a very deep and important topic. I'm removing it from the video because it's such an important topic that I feel it's important to handle it with great care. So while I think it's also a really great topic to put on the platform of YouTube to discuss, to put out there in the world, I would like to do it with great consideration. So, on the matter of gender, identity, masculinity, the absolute stink of misogyny, which pervades the whole world, including Zen, including all of Buddhism, I would like to speak about it very carefully. So our candid conversation doesn't quite measure up to the import that I believe this topic ought to carry. That said, the angle that I leaned into sitting here in Japan, having been ordained and trained in Japan in Zen, is that in Japanese Zen, very much aligned with Japanese society and culture, identity of the individual is not of paramount importance. Who we are as a group is the main thing. And in that, when we go into training in a Japanese Zen traditional training environment where we practice and we butt heads as monks and sometimes as lay people too in a sangha, our identity, our personal me gets kind of ground up into a fine powder and blown away in the wind. What we might find at that release is a more profound confidence. It's a very hard won, but it exists. I know this because I've met masters who embody this. There are other masters on YouTube who also embody this. I would encourage you to go check them out. But for me personally, still a work in progress. I vow like a bodhisattva to get there with everyone. So come along with me. Let's get into it. Let's all get better at this living thing together. Thank you. I think that's about all of it for today. Thank you for your wonderful questions, everyone. Peace be with you.
And also with you.
Thank you for that.